Hello, thanks for listening. I'm just going to do a few minutes of stand up. I'm going to start with saying some modern Christmas songs. This one's a year or two old. It's Baby, It's COVID 19 Outside. Another one is Rudolph the Gender Neutral Reindeer. This one's devoted to my wife. It's from the Mariah Carey song, All I Want for Christmas is Your Credit Card. In high school, as you could imagine, I didn't have a whole lot of luck with the ladies. One time, one of the cutest girls in school, she called me up and she said, "Come over to my house. There's no one home." So I drove up to her house. No one was home. A week later, she came up to me and said, "Sorry about that. Come over to my house and we'll play doctor." So I was thinking, all right, this sounds like a good time. So I go over to her house. I was waiting like an hour in her living room, reading magazines. It's ridiculous. She gave me some Tylenol, sent me home. I kept on telling her I don't have a headache. So I'm married now. We've been married 18 years. So 18 years, that's 54 in Hollywood years. What I did find out about women is that you heard the expression, women love men in uniform. But it's not so much that they love men in uniform. They love men that are employed. And I can honestly say I have found Mrs. Right. I just didn't know her first name was always. I do like to call her Wonder Woman. The reason is because she's always saying, like, I wonder where my purse is. I wonder where my keys are. My wife and I, we still hold hands. That way she can't hit me. And when we fight, we actually keep fighting until I agree with her. So when we first got married, I was romantic and carried my wife up the stairs. Now that I'm older, I still carry my wife up the stairs, but I take 2 trips. And as a hobby, I do like to paint, but I don't think my wife likes my paintings. Like, she'll hang them on the wall, but then when company comes over, she'll turn them around. So yeah. I do like to play Xbox. My aunt, she always bugs me. She's like, "Aren't you a little old to be playing video games?" So then I ask her, "Aren't you a little old?" So right now, I think I'm going through a midlife crisis, except that I can't afford a sports car. And I am 45, so I guess I'll die when I'm 90. My dad, I told my dad that I think I'm going through a midlife crisis. And he told me, he says, "I think I am too." And I said, "Dad, are you sure it's a midlife crisis? Like, maybe it's more of a 2/3 life crisis." But yeah, I'm feeling older. Some kids in my neighborhood, they came up to my house. They told me I was old. And I told them, I said, that's offensive, because the proper term is called pre-dead. And then I told them to get the hell off my lawn. But I do work at a hotel, and I like to call it Hotel California, because I can clock out, but I can never leave. And I do like having fun with the guests. Like when they're checking out, they'll say, "Oh, we had a good stay. We really enjoyed our stay." And I'll say, "Oh, that's excellent. We really enjoyed your money." I just want to tell you a little bit about my life before I was married. I admit it. I was poor. I had a security sign at my place. It said, "This place is protected by poverty. There is nothing in here worth stealing." I also had an old beater of a car. It had a security system in it. It's called a manual transmission because only I knew how to drive it. It had an airbag, but you had to blow it up yourself. And then it had some rust on the door, so every time you closed the door, some rust would fall off. So really, the type of car I was driving was a box of cornflakes. Okay, before I go, I just want to tell you a story of I used to have a job driving taxi. And one time I picked up a bunch of people from the States. They're rich, young party type. I picked them up at the airport and then taken them to, some nice condo and that sort of thing. And they were telling me a story of they're in, so-and-so's mansion and they're in the hot tub with a bunch of ladies having drinks, having a good time. So they're telling me the story, and I had to respond. I had to tell them something, right? So I said, "Oh, you know what? That reminds me of the time I was in my one-bedroom apartment and I was in the bathtub eating craft dinner." Thank you, everyone. That's all I have.